Well, I think with regards to the audit findings, I think there's three things that are abundantly clear. First of all, this vindicates Bo Musser without question. Clearly, the issues he raised were legitimate, and clearly he was right to raise those issues. Second, I think this demands an immediate, sure response from the school board. Clearly, it calls for terminations of key administrators today. There is no excuse for waiting any longer. And finally, this report clearly implicates Dan Colgan in knowing that these stipends had been given out during his tenure as superintendent. I think that certainly disqualifies him from serving on the school board, and I think he should resign immediately. And further, I believe that the school board should absolutely censor him at the next possible school board meeting.
Well, it's been wild and crazy, obviously. As you've read before, and I found numerous improprieties, and when I reported those things, I never knew kind of where this whole thing would lead, and so now we're getting through it, and today is one of those things that is a result of kind of what I saw, basically, and I think that this is one investigation, and there's still more investigations going on.
When you came into the St. Joseph School District, your name was kind of tarnished when you started to look into the findings. Having these released, how does that make you feel as far as having your name cleared, essentially?
Well, to be honest with you, I do feel vindicated. I think that when people read this report, they'll see that there's significant issues that we have, and that I did indeed report. And so it might make sense now to people why I may have been retaliated against the way I was. And you must understand this is a little tricky for me to talk about because I am in the middle of a lawsuit, but to answer your question, I do feel vindicated. It's not that I'm celebrating this because, there are significant issues that we need to address, but what I honestly feel like is I look forward to addressing these issues, and I hope that I have the support from our board to put the resources in place, the people that we need to fix some of these major problems.
Do you see yourself as a bit of a vigilante, kind of speaking up against what many people may think it's a wrongdoing, or what you thought was wrong, that maybe gave a spark for this kind of action for the audit?
All I've ever done is my job, and so no. To answer your question, I don't feel like a vigilante. I'm a professional accountant. I've been a professional accountant for 14, 15 years. And all I've ever done here was my job, and so that's how I would answer that question.
So what's the next step? Chief Financial Officer. This is all financial.
Right.
You're the guy. You're the chief. What is next? What's the next step?
Well, my recommendation to the board will be easy. We need to hire a well-qualified purchasing manager to oversee the entire purchasing process for the district. Right now we have one accounts payable clerk, and that's it for the district. We only have one payroll accountant for a district that paid 2,500 people in 2014. And so we need oversight of these areas, and so it's easy. Some of this is easy, and it is hiring competent people, so we have the manpower to make sure that we're, as we move forward, in compliance with board policy and with laws.
You haven't had much time to clean up the mess after you found it. Are you already working to try to get us back on the right foot, or where are you now?
Yeah, we've seen the state audit. I wasn't here when the state audit itself was going on, but upon my return, I did get to see the report that was issued today in draft form. And so, of course, we are in the process of fixing what's in that report. But like I've told other people, he mentioned lack of institutional control. These are serious issues that aren't going to be fixed overnight. And quite frankly, they're not going to be fixed in 3 or 4 or 5 months. However, we will be making immediate progress on fixing these things. But that only assumes then that the board can support my recommendations of getting the appropriate staff on hand to address some of these issues.
How do you reimburse $40 million? Are we ever going to see that again as taxpayers?
Well, I will tell you this. That number of $25 million to $40 million of stipends, I think that is perhaps slightly unfair to the district, and I do. I think that if you look at the simply unapproved stipends over the time, and even those could be justified, but the way they were handled were certainly improper. But I mean, the money that he talked about, no, that money's gone and it's not coming back. But what we can do is, and we are doing already, is putting in procedures and policies and getting people in place to make sure that this doesn't happen in the future. And I can assure you that at least under my watch, I won't allow that. I mean, that's, again, we started to report these issues right when I first got here.